Autoweb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
And we're sponsored by DealerEProcess. I said DealerEProcess. Come on, DealerEProcess. I said DealerEProcess. Come on.
First of all, we have the Chief Sales Officer of the organization, and this is just straight up, no spin. They are the #1 website and marketing platform, the highest converting platform in the entire automotive sales industry. And man, they're a juggernaut, and Gino is a subject matter expert. LA, what I want you to do though is on the screen is just lean back, get some Fat Joe on, because that way I can see your whole head instead of like being cut off from the forehead. You know what I'm saying? So Gino, welcome to the show, man. This is the Millionaire Car Salesman Show. And you know, we don't really rock with a lot of vendors, you know what I mean? Because I want to be able to keep it as authentic as possible for the dealer world. But I think what you guys do at DealerEProcess is extremely important, extremely valuable. So let's just start with, just tell us a little about you personally, your background, your automotive background, and then we could get into DealerE in a second.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in automotive for going on 8 years now. I've been with DealerEProcess the entire time. I started at this company actually as a paid search strategist. So I came out of grad school, came right here, started doing Google campaigns, managing those sorts of things for dealerships. And really what excited me about DealerEProcess when I first got in here is that it was unlike a lot of other companies that I really was aware of in the industry, where we were so focused on the dealer success, way more so than our own. And that really drove our culture and drove really what we try to do here and still do to this day, which is what can we do every single day, not just for our own growth and development, but primarily for our dealers? How do we make them successful? So that's really what I've been focused on my whole entire time here and moving forward, is making the best solution that we can for the dealers and making their lives, at least in the world of technology and digital, really powerful and really stand out in terms of what consumers see.
Strong, brother. Strong. Okay. So did you ever work in a dealership?
I got to be honest. No, I've never worked in a dealership.
All right. No. So this is important then. And I want to talk about this. So what would you say that your personal subject matter expertise is?
So I would say my expertise is in digital advertising, SEO, and website optimization strategies.
Okay. And so again, can you go through, just so we set the stage here, what are the different products and services that DealerEProcess offers? And not in a commercial, just because I want to ask questions about you, and I want to understand, how it correlates to what you do at DealerEProcess.
Yeah, no, sure. So the company got started primarily as a website development company. That's still our core product. It's still where a lot of our focus lies. Shortly after that, we brought on digital advertising, and we've been a Google Premier partner ever since. So we have a lot of expertise in that field. Lately, in terms of advertising, we've been expanding into the video advertising space with our OTT division, which is actually led by a team of people who have over 100 years of experience in automotive video advertising.
I'm going to interrupt just because there's certain people that don't have a clue. Let's start with the basics. What's Google Premier Partner mean?
Yeah, sure. So Google Premier Partner means that you have a technology and you have a client base that's large enough for Google to give you resources, give you access to their people internally that you can then take advantage of on behalf of your clients. So go ahead.
So you were an official, DealerEProcess is an official Google partner with Google resources and basically Google oversight. Am I correct?
Yeah. So
That's fire.
Yeah, Google gives us access to their dev team as we build our technology out. We can sync up with them in a little bit more of an integrated way. They give us access to new technologies that they're developing that could help dealers. Same goes for Microsoft too. I don't want to actually glaze over them either, because they're a very big, important partner, and Microsoft's an underutilized platform in automotive for sure. And,
Explain that.
Yeah, so when you look at digital marketing, you want to look at it in terms of how can I get the most bang for my buck? And oftentimes everyone kind of gets so focused on Google all the time because that's where the critical mass is, that's where all the people are. But if you want to look at this from a best bang for your buck standpoint, Microsoft has a large market share of customers who are automotive shoppers. It's about 14 million a month that actually only go to Microsoft to shop for cars. And because it's a smaller network than Google, it's a cheaper ad. So you can actually get a lot of value out of your entire budget if you mix in Microsoft advertising along with Google. And the same thing about Facebook to a degree too.
Okay. So strong. Now, I want to just start controversial. I'm Sean Bradley. You know what I'm saying? So we're just gonna. You ready? He's like, oh no, I don't know what. There you go, LA. Absolutely. All right. So my question is this, man. This is what's buzzing in the industry right now. Is OEM compliant sites. Okay, so first of all, does DealerEProcess have any OEM relationships that you are the preferred vendor?
Yeah, we do. We have a number of them. We have over a dozen.
Okay, and so for the record, I'm not saying all OEM vendor compliant sites, but there are some vendor compliant sites, and I'm sure there's certain manufacturers that DealerEProcess unfortunately doesn't have official relationships with. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay, and so even if it's only one or two, but my point being here, as a consultant, what I hear is that dealers are making bad decisions on what web development company they use because some of them feel that they're being bullied or forced for compliancy, co-op, retro money, whatever it is, to use a certain, company. So let's talk about that for a second. Is that ever a problem for you guys, that for any manufacturer that you're not officially sanctioned by? How does somebody go forward and work with DealerEProcess if you're not one of those preferred vendors?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure, right? And I mean, we work with a lot of groups that will have some of their OEMs where we're not a part of the program, and they'll keep us on for the entire group. And the unfortunate part about that is that they'll have to manage 2 sites for those OEMs where we're not a part of that program in order to maintain that compliance and stay linked to the tier 1 site and things like that. But really, at the end of the day, it still benefits the dealer because our performance brings them enough value to where it justifies having that added site and that added cost. We also do everything that we can. We're synced up with every OEM from a compliance standpoint, so the site's always going to be compliant. That's not an issue. It's just a matter of if the dealer's willing to go down that road of having a little bit of extra work and maybe a little extra cost to get the added benefit that our platform can bring over the others that might be in those programs. And
just to be clear, you are partnering with a ton of these OEMs. Can you name some of your OEM partnerships that you have that you're a preferred vendor with?
Yeah, I mean, we've got Kia, BMW, Acura, Lexus, Toyota, Honda, Nissan. We are partnered with General Motors for digital advertising, so we can still bring our marketing solutions to those dealers. Mazda's another one. So it's a lot of the major OEMs out there we are partners.
Okay, good. So I wanted to be clear that you are definitely, partners and recommended vendors. But I want to just talk about this because for me, it's so frustrating when I talk to a dealer, right? And when I talk to a dealer and they tell me that, man, my website's not performing. We have high bounce rates, low time on site. We're not really converting stuff. And I'm like, well, why are you with them? And they're, well, because that's what my manufacturer suggests. And I'm like, I don't understand. First of all, I don't understand why, if they have an underperforming antiquated platform that is shoving down their throat, why they choose to stay. And what I find is, one, it's it's like, you know what, I don't want to go through the aggravation, which is crazy to me. It's like, that's one of it, is they don't want to fight the battle or try to seek other alternatives, or they don't understand that by having the workaround, which is basically you keep your OEM compliancy site, I would say that you drop down to the most basic, inexpensive OEM plan, right? So don't buy all the other stuff, SEO, SEM, the enhancements, all the add-ons in an OEM compliant site that you're not happy with, that's not performing. You drop down to the most basic, I joke around, say the ghetto package that you could get, and you kill all but 3 pages, like the inventory, the about us, and the homepage or whatever. And then what you do is you find a valid, powerful marketing platform that you can work with. And to your point, the worst case scenario is you turn that OEM compliance site into a .net, and then you have your main real URL with a company at the level of a DealerEProcess. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the digital equivalent of sweeping your other site under the rug, right? You really don't want people to find it. You really don't care necessarily that it doesn't get exposure, it doesn't get a lot of traffic, because that's not what it's there for. It's there to keep you compliant with the OEMs. I mean, in that sense, they're making you pay a tax, which is unfortunate, but it's a tax you should be willing to pay because of the added value you can get out of having a better platform.
Yeah, but I also have another perspective about this. And Gino, you being a marketing expert on this, I want you see behind me, I wrote the book, Win the Game of Googleopoly. And one of the concepts is there's only about, I don't know if it's changed in the last year or so, but approximately 6% of people go past the first page of Google. That's it. So if you're not on page one of Google organically, you're pretty much invisible. So would you say that that's an accurate statement?
That's accurate. I think it's dropped down to even lower, but I think it's about 4% now. Will not.
Oh wow! Then I stand corrected. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's great. So it proves my point even more. Yeah. That if you're not on there, 96% of people are not going to go past the first page. So my point being is that if you've got top 10 listings, if you have 2 sites, this is the thing, dealers, I want you to understand is that there's nothing wrong with owning multiple Google real estate points, because if you only have your one website, at best, you're only able to show up once, which means that there's 9 other positions that could be your competitors or third-party providers, lead source providers, online classifieds, those type of companies. However, if you did have the compliance site and if it was optimized the right way, the worst case scenario is that you show up twice on the top 10 listings and you would have 20% of the landscape. And there's nothing that's going to hurt or compromise your primary SEO strategy by having another Google real estate asset. Am I correct or incorrect?
No, you're correct. And I think we should look at that a little bit closer, because the dynamics of that page are important to understand. Because years ago, like a couple years ago, Google actually made a change to where one URL can only hold 2 spots organically in any Google search page. Before that, we would have websites where you would do a search and the entire page, front page, would be links to our website. We owned the entire thing. Google didn't want to give one site the opportunity to monopolize the page like that, so they've limited it, right? But now you have each site of yours can take 2 organic spots. So you can technically own, if you do have that secondary site that's done well, you can own 40% of that page. And if you're at the top, consider the fact that the 96% of people, still all of them won't scroll all the way down either. So most of the people, if you do own those top 4 spots, and if you have a good ad campaign to go along with it, you're going to get the majority of people that get to that page are only going to see you. So if you want to talk about a market advantage, that's it.
Absolutely strong. All right, since we're talking about websites, can you give us some best practice tips? And Gino, again, we didn't rehearse this, so if you don't have one off the top of your head, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you could think of a website that we can go to, and obviously if you're going to listen to this, the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, we'll mention the name a couple times, but if you guys are watching this live stream in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, I like to show. So do you have a website that I could reference as we talk about something, like one of your showcase?
So hold on for a second. Before we do that, I'm going to just kind of hear from a sponsor real quick, and then we're going to let Gino tell us the website. Stay tuned.
Attention auto dealers, you need an opportunity to do business. Autoweb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. High quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. Autoweb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need Autoweb.
So for the podcast listeners, we just went to Gillespie Ford, Gillespie Ford, Gillespie Ford. So this is a DealerEProcess site. And again, so Gino, I'm here. Give us some best practices for websites. So whether you are a dealer principal, general manager, internet director, BDC director, marketing manager, the digital manager, whatever your title is, if you are relevant here, help me out and go over some stuff here. What are elements that everybody in 2021 needs to know are the holy grail or the non-negotiables if you want to have a powerful site that converts? What is it?
The holy grail on this site here is, I don't know if you could tell or not, is simplicity on the homepage.
And it's fast. I just noticed this doesn't choke down. The site seems ultra fast and sleek and it's simple. Okay, so explain.
So we get oftentimes caught up with wanting to have a lot of fancy stuff on the homepage, video backgrounds, big giant banners with, 12 sliders in them and things like that. But that's all done. That's kind of all very self-serving. If you think about a customer like you yourself, Sean, if you were to go out and shop for a car, would you want to spend more time than you have to on the homepage itself, or do you want to go in and start shopping for cars?
I'm going to shop. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to go start shopping for cars as quickly as possible.
Right. So I think we have to get past the idea of, what the homepage is supposed to look like and the message is supposed to get across. And we need to focus more on what the homepage is designed to do. And it's designed to get people into your site as quickly as possible. When we designed this site, we started looking at our data and we saw that the majority of people who got to a website who ended up going to shop for a car spent less than 6 seconds on the website. On the homepage. And even that to us felt like it was a little bit long. So exactly. Even if you're on mobile or if you're on desktop, the site is designed to get the consumer there and put it right in their face. What are you here to do? And let's get to that activity. You're going to shop for new, you're going to shop for used, you're here to schedule service, you want to make a phone call, just click that big green button on the top. Do whatever you have to do, but do it quickly because consumers' time is valuable. Everyone's time is valuable. If we make consumers spend more time doing things than they want to, they're going to take fewer of the actions that we want them to. So that was really the big thought process behind this design, and I think our website design team knocked it out of the park.
No, I actually like this. This is the first time I'm seeing this theme. This is awesome. A couple things here. From my experience, you build all web developers and web design companies should be building for mobile first. Mobile first because the majority of people access their car information majority from their mobile devices. Is that an accurate statement? Does that still hold true?
It holds true for the most part. We saw an interesting trend last year during COVID where once people were locked down, they stopped using their mobile phones so much and went to desktop.
Ooh.
It was kind of interesting and it kind of made us step back and think. And so we started to ask ourselves, is this going to be a trend more and more where people are going to be, say, working remotely? And we know that people do a lot of car shopping during the middle of the day when they're supposed to be at work. Are people who, if they're at their home in their kitchen doing their job, are they going to be browsing more on desktop in the future than on mobile? And if so, what does that mean for our design?
Gino, wait a minute. That's something that I haven't really thought about. Yeah. Again, honestly, I've been so focused on 50 million other things. You're absolutely right. The world has changed. We've been now literally in this pandemic world for 1 year now. And so there are a lot of people that are working from me and my wife work at least 2 to 3 days a week from our home office. Yeah. And when we don't, we have our kids that we're homeschooling and our pugs in our executive office here. So you're absolutely right. So there has to definitely be some type of evolution to web development and web design then based on the new trends and practices from both the consumers and the dealerships. Would that be accurate?
That is accurate. And I think that's really what our philosophy is. Like I said at the beginning, we look at what the consumer's doing. We don't lean into a lot of the old school thought process industry that's kind of taken over really how people think about website design. We just say to ourselves, what are consumers doing now and how can we make our websites more consistent with how they're taking their browsing actions. So that's really what the thought is.
Well, listen, we have one of your clients just put a comment right here in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, Chris Laval, who is the internet director for the Kia Bedford dealer group, which is part of a 15 rooftop dealer group. They just said just went live Monday with DealerEProcess, amazing difference. So that's really strong, man. So that just shows you right there. A dealer just jumped on and just said, yeah, this is like legit. All right, so now let's go back to the websites. From, again, my background.
I just want to say thanks to Chris for the kind words. I really always appreciate good dealer feedback.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I appreciate your kind words for sure, too, man. That's what's up. So, Gino, a couple other things that these are basics, but I want to reiterate basics before we get into some other stuff, is that the number one page that people went to was inventory, and the number two page that people went to before was the specials and things like that. Can you give our audience currently right now, 2021 data, what is the landscape? I'm going to go bring back on the Gillespie Ford website right now. And I want you to kind of just give us a reality check of how do consumers engage a car dealership's website? Okay. Like where do they go first and why?
Yeah. It's the search page. It's the general new car search page. Sometimes used cars will take over. It kind of depends on the brand. But after that.
So the search page, like what? Like where's that?
So if you just go to shop new.
Okay, I go to shop new. So we're at shop new. So I click here. So this is one of the places right here.
Yeah.
Okay, if I click there.
So, in fact, if you look at this homepage, the homepage is kind of designed to follow what people typically do when they go to a site. It's either shop new, shop used, go to service, or get financing. That's the or shop certified. Again, depends. But that's
shop new, shop used, schedule service, shop certified.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's where the data tells us people want to go. And so we're not fighting against trends. We're not trying to make them do things they don't want to do. That's what happens. I mean, you see a massive drop off even when it comes to going to schedule service. Everyone's going to your site for inventory. If they want to schedule service, they're going to come to your homepage and probably just call you. That's more often than not what happens, because a lot of online service schedulers just aren't very good. So customers don't like to use them. But that's when we build our site, we build it primarily for inventory, because we know that's where consumers are going.
Okay, so that's what I was getting to, and I want to just make sure that we're on the same page. So folks, obviously, the number one place that people are going to is your inventory, new cars, used cars, certified details, etc. And I remember a stat back in the day, Gino. I don't know if this is still relevant, but I think it was like, and this is years and years ago. So again, I'd like you to update my stats. It was that if it takes you every click that somebody's got to click, you lose about 24% of your audience. So for example, if I had to find vehicles that were 15K out the door and it took me 3 clicks, then, mathematically, I just lost 74% of my audience. Is there an updated metric of, about simplicity and not having people have to click and find stuff?
I couldn't tell you about that 24%, truthfully. Okay. That sounds accurate just from, what I know historically.
Okay.
But we do see that consumers that do have to take more actions than necessary will end up leaving the site more frequently. And that's why if you were to click Shop New again and take a look at our search results page, that's why our page and this page in particular is designed the way it was. So for forever, we've heard in the industry that VDP views are the lifeblood of your website, right?
I like this dynamic ads over here. This feels like this is a professional website. Not that not dealership websites aren't, but I feel like that dealership websites older, and for unfortunately a lot of dealerships current have antiquated sites. It's almost like a custom site, but it like this to me feels like it's a commercial, professional, high end site that I would see like in Edmunds.com or maybe from one of the manufacturers. I think that the technology is amazing from what you guys are doing at DealerEProcess compared to like mainstream society outside the automotive industry. Just like looking at this, like the look and feel is very, very professional, very polished. Again, with the dynamic ads that are integrated into the inventory. Am I off base, or am I pretty perceptive here?
No, you're right. You're right on point. I mean, we want to make everything look like it belongs. I think we see a lot of sites in the industry that has things just like plop here or there, or plugins that are floating on top of buttons that shouldn't be there, and it just creates a terrible user experience. But here we wanted to make it feel like you're on a clean, easy site. And in fact, if you go down to mobile here real quick, you're going to notice something interesting that happens with the website. And this goes to what we were talking about before with consumers wanting to take fewer options and wanting to do something familiar. So what's interesting about our website is that while we do get the most amount of leads across all the other providers, we have a lot of data that proves that coming from third parties, we actually end up getting the fewest amount of VDP views time and time again. The reason being is that when consumers are on this page, and if you just scroll up and start at the top, is that consumers don't want to play that game where in order to get the information they want, they have to go into each and every vehicle details page every single time. They don't want to do that back and forth anymore. That's just a real disjointed user experience. But on this page here, if you were to scroll down and start doing things like looking at pictures, which you could just easily swipe through, you have every single photo available to you. There you go. And as consumers want to browse, and they'll typically look between 3 or 5 vehicles before they even consider filling out a lead. But as consumers go down this page, they tend to use it just like they use apps like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, where you're just like engaging with a post, going down, engaging with the next one, going down. They're not going back and forth in and out of things. So this has really caused our traditional metrics to get skewed what would seem like out of our favor, like lower VDP views, lower time on site. But at the end of the day, we get more leads and consumers have a more efficient experience because of the way these pages are designed. So that's really the focus of ours. Again, is just make it easy for people to use.
No, this is amazing. Now, here, let's go through this. So, talk me through this. There's nothing. You guys didn't just throw stuff together. If you don't mind me asking, approximately how many dealerships do you work with?
We're about just shy of 2,000.
Okay, so folks, I mean, like that's a hell of a lot of stores. You have 2,000 multi-million or multi-billion-dollar clients. That's pretty impressive, man. 2,000, it's crazy. So my point being is that you didn't just throw this together. You have so much data that's coming through. So walk me through the get the e-price, click to call, find my payment, confirm availability. Like, talk to me about why you chose this exact layout for your call to actions in your VDPs.
Yeah. Well, you'll notice again, it's real well condensed within the vehicle view. So it's very easy for the consumer to just understand that here's the car, here are the photos, here's the information on the vehicle, maybe a custom comment section or whatever the case may be, the pricing. And then if you have any interest, take another action. E-Price has always been, a top performer for us. And it's always been a really high quality lead for our dealer. That's somebody who's at least interested in knowing what the cost of the vehicle is going to be, should they come test drive and things like that. Find My Payment, though, if you were to click that, that's actually starting to take over from E-Price. And what that is that actually launches our digital retailing tool. Oh, they turned it off here. Thanks.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me pause. I want to take the screen off. Can you please define digital retailing? Because there's a lot of people that don't really understand exactly what digital retailing is and the massive power and value of digital retailing, especially in a current and post-pandemic world.
Yeah.
Great question, Sean.
Yeah, that is a really good question. So digital retailing is always thought of as the act of, buying a car online. It's that shopping cart mentality, right? For us, digital retailing is more so the consumer being able to work the deal online, build out their deal jacket, but still give the dealer the ability to have a conversation with the consumer and work the deal on their end, as we know that they need to, and then ultimately complete the transaction after that process is completed. And the reason that we take that approach is because the data is very clear that while a lot of people are doing more online car shopping and online car buying, it's going to be a long time before the majority of consumers actually will want to do the entire purchase online. And I cite there's recent data that just came out from Google because they're now starting to talk a lot about how the landscape has shifted. Their data showed that 10% of all vehicle sales were purchased 100% online in 2020, and they're projecting that by 2025, 25% of vehicles will be purchased completely online. So the trend is growing. It's definitely heading in that direction. But you're talking about 5 years from now, still 75% of people want to do that transaction in person. So digital retailing is a tool for a consumer to build out their payment, get it custom to them. I mean, we have soft credit pull technology that allows the consumer to get an actual price and payment that they would normally get in the store just online. They want to take all those actions, but ultimately at the end of the day, they still want to see the car, they still want to drive it, they still want to talk to the dealership, they want to take those more traditional buying actions, and that's what our tool is designed to do. And that's actually what you're looking at there is not that tool. I apologize that they recently must have switched it off, but
it's okay. So, but conceptually, you already outlined that what basically digital retailing is. It has the theoretical technology that if somebody wanted to go online completely autonomously or digitally without interacting with the dealership, they could pretty much put in their information, everything from credit, trade-in, the vehicle of interest, payments, rates, all that stuff theoretically could be worked out. Is that an accurate statement?
Correct. We can do everything from rebates, incentives, down payments, soft credit pulls I mentioned, trade-in value, and we also can do an automatic equity calculation, which in my experience, that's the number one thing that our tool offers that a lot don't, which can destroy a deal online. Because a lot of times you have these digital retailing tools that might be using a trade pending as their trade-in application, but the website itself uses KBB, so the consumer is going to get two different values for their car if they try to use either tool. And the other problem is consumers might see that their car's worth 15 grand, but not realize that they owe 18 on it still. So you have negative 3,000 in equity that can completely change what your payments would be. And if the tool doesn't recognize that and can't do that calculation, you're going to give the customer one lower payment online versus a higher payment that they end up being at, and then you're the bad guy. They just end up, wanting to leave.
Strong. So then help me walk through this, because you just said something that's interesting. Even in the middle of the pandemic, right? It's still only roughly about 10% of people that go fully through the digital retailing process. But you just gave a crazy number, which I didn't know about that by 2025, in 4 more years, it's going to jump to about 25%. So the dealerships, in my opinion, and based on what you're saying, need to have multiple processes. They need to be able to handle the opportunity from their prospect however the prospect wants to. If somebody is comfortable with just communicating on the phone and the internet or text message to schedule an appointment without very much information, they come in and they do the whole deal. I'd call that the traditional BDC model, right? Or if they want to do the complete polar opposite, which would be the the digital retailing model, where they're doing everything digitally before they ever come in, and it's nice and neat and wrapped up. And then there's the hybrid, or I could call it the virtual, which is somebody like just off the top of my head, like Bob Ruth Ford. Like, these people has nothing to do with the website. It has to do with this philosophy, is that they're using things like Zoom, because to your point, they understand they have digital retailing, but a lot of people are not going through that full process, but they also need the convenience. So what they're doing is, let's just say, Gino, you submitted a purchase request for a 2021 Ford F-150. When I follow up with you, I speak to you, within a couple seconds, I could shoot you a Zoom link exactly how we are right now, and I could turn around and share my screen if I have VIN solutions. And just like you walked into my dealership and I sat you down and I engaged a customer worksheet, I could theoretically do the same thing through literally Zoom, my CRM, and my DealerEProcess platform. Does that sound correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And I think it's important to note that you do have to have that separate process when it comes to a digital retailing lead. We have our most successful digital retailing dealers have things like VIP lanes or fast service lanes for customers who have done the work and filled out all this information online. If you know that customer is coming into the store, you have to treat them differently than another up. They have to be treated like, here's your car, it's ready to go. Have it washed, have it cleaned, have it ready for them to look at, maybe test drive, have the deal jacket all done because you have all their information. They want to get in and out quick. They don't want to spend the 4 hours there that you would typically spend, doing the whole deal. So that's really what is important, is having that process to go along with the digital retailing tool. That's the biggest thing.
Let's stay on this for like another 1 or 2 minutes. So I got the VIP delivery lanes. Can you just go through all your ninja ideas, for digital retailing?
Hold on, wait. Before you do that, because I definitely want to hear from one of our sponsors real quick. And then when we come back, we're going to have Gino break down his ninja ideas. I'm excited about these. Give us a second.
Don't be the last one with your hand up at the auction. VinCue Vehicle Buying Center gives dealers the digital and in-store tools you need to buy direct from the public. On average, inventory bought from the public grosses $1,200 higher on the front end alone. VinCue turns buying cars direct from the public into a business. The most profitable dealerships in the country are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in additional front-end gross. Private party acquisition starts with VinCue. See it at VinCue.com.
All right, guys, so we're back. And Gino, you had some ninja ideas you were going to share with us?
I got some ideas. Well, I'll let you guys determine whether or not they qualify as ninja ideas, but I got some thoughts. So the first thing is that you have to remember this customer is a digital customer. They went through the process online to get down to their price and payment. So don't give them a non-digital experience. You need to have things like iPads or whatever, like have that information in your salesperson's hands ready to go. Because if I walk in and I've already done my whole process online, and that my credit score is 780, that I'm at minus $3,000 in equity, what car I'm trading in, what car I want to test drive, and that's all digital information. Don't come up to me and say, hey, what are you doing here? How can I help you today? Come up to me.
Yeah. Listen, bust some shots, LA, drop some bombs on that, boom, boom, something, because that is one of the apocalyptic problems that I see, is that when there's opt-out, from the digital retail process, there isn't a immediate process to pick up exactly from when the digital retail opt-out happened. And so somebody could spend X amount of time going through the process, and then if they come into the dealership, they don't want available salesperson, customer showroom, and start from scratch. Or worse, even much worse is, to your point, if they actually go through the whole entire process, you will totally undermine the value and the system and that excitement that you built if you just revert to available salesperson customer showroom and restart the whole entire process. So Gino, I think that is a 10th degree ninja tip right there. Okay, but I like what you said before about the VIP lanes, but things like that. What other things can we create propaganda, marketing wise, or what can we do to perpetuate this new way of doing business?
Yeah, I think you can take a lot of that, and I have to give Carvana a lot of credit for this. They've actually kind of reinvigorated the idea of celebrating the purchase of a vehicle. Right? They have their big vending machines. You get that big coin that you put into the slot when you've already bought the car, but you're taking delivery of it in a way that's unique, that's fun, that's interesting. You can do that with a VIP customer who's gone through digital retailing and had that all set and ready to go. And I think that's what people want nowadays. They want experiences. That's what's going to get them to talk about you on Facebook. That's what's going to get them to recommend you to your friends. If they go in and you give them a mind-blowing experience, whatever it might be, whatever that might look like for your dealership, and they're able to get their deal done completely through the entire process the way that they think, not have to go through a lot of back and forth, not take hours out of their day to do it, but create almost like a celebration of getting a new car. That's going to create a lot of goodwill for your dealership, going to generate a lot of buzz for you, and that's what's going to get people talking about you. Because at the end of the day, the more people that you know Sean better than anybody, that referral business is always your top source of new clients. So if you can use that to generate that type of traffic source, you're going to be way better off every single month.
Listen, 1000%. By the way, Chris just asked to get hooked up with you, so I'm texting him your information if that's okay, Gino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, Chris, I can't answer at the moment.
Yeah, Chris, you can't. Like, we're in the middle of an interview for the tens of thousands of people, so he'll have to call you back. All right, but that's the technology right there. It's great. We're doing a live stream in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, and this is going to be on the podcast, probably in the next week or so. And we already got dealers that want more. He actually wants to talk to you about your digital marketing stuff, because I think he's got your website platform, but he wants to talk to you about digital marketing, which is perfect segue. Thank you, Chris, for directing the rest of the show. So can we talk about what you guys do? Because here's the thing that drives me batshit crazy is that dealers are getting hosed on a lot of these web development companies, man. And I'm going to say it because you got to be politically correct. This is my show. I can keep it real. Okay. Is that when I audit stores, there's nothing more disgusting than looking at a store. I say, okay, how much you spending on your website and all of the marketing to drive traffic to your website. That means your website, your organic SEO strategy, your paid strategy, your PPC management fee, if there is one, then all your APIs. APIs are going to be, obviously like your, your chat feature, your digital retailing feature, your credit pull feature, your inventory feature, whatever stuff that's extra there. So to the point, when we did all this, one of the stores, and I'm trying to get my calculator on here, one of the stores that I'm talking about right now, and I posted this in our group a couple weeks ago, okay? And what was insane to me was that when I looked at this, they spent $21,000. Let me get a calculator. Gino, tell America what color Sean Bradley's calculator is.
That is a strong orange right there.
Absolutely. I'm about this orange life. So now if we have $21,000 in your website SEO, and then obviously your paid budget to Google, your paid budget to Facebook, yada, yada, yada. But if you're spending $21,000 on your website, PPC, SEM, management fees, APIs, social media, all that stuff, $21,000. That doesn't sound absurd for a multi-million-dollar business in a month, right?
That sounds actually low. I would have guessed higher.
Okay, but watch this, okay? But divide that by having only 147 leads that are generated. And so that comes out to being $142.85, your average cost per lead acquisition. So here's something that I really want to talk to you about. For me, I don't respect that. I think that that's paying stupid tax. Again, when, I don't think that's the same closing ratio from a third-party provider. I know that should be double, sometimes triple the closing ratio of a third-party lead from your site. But my point is, there's a point of diminishing return. There's a point where it doesn't ROI. So what I like about DealerEProcess is that the investment that our clients have that are on DealerEProcess, when we do simple, basic Forrest Gump math on that, how much are we spending and what are we getting? Not only is the average cost per lead, average cost per opportunity extremely low, and the average cost per sale is extremely low. But what do you say about dealers that have that situation, that have other companies? Am I crazy, or is that not normal?
It's you're not crazy, and it's unfortunate that it is fairly normal. And I think honestly the biggest problem is that, and this has been a problem for a long time, is that there's a lack of education or a lack of understanding within the dealership to really know what to look for when you're auditing your marketing provider. I mean, we do everything we can to educate our dealers first and foremost, and we tell them right off the bat, here's everything we're going to look at every month. Here's what everything means. Here's what you should be looking at in the meantime, because we want them to be in the know, because it creates a stronger partnership. It creates a situation where we can actually advise one another better and work towards the same goal. I think if you really want to get those costs under control, investing in some sort of training, and Sean, I know you got a lot of training for dealers on Google and everything like that. I'd say investing in some sort of training for your internet manager or whoever's going to be looking at these things and get them up to speed is step one before you even go and pick another company. I mean, I would do that first, because a lot of times the internet manager, the person who's managing these things, is just the youngest guy in the dealership, and they just, they put him in charge because, oh, you must know Facebook and everything. But in actuality, knowing how to use Facebook is different than knowing how to market on Facebook and how to do it effectively. The same goes for Google and Bing and everything else.
So can you share with us again, because I love what you said. See, here's the thing. If you spin bullshit, then you got to run, hide, and hope, your clients are dumb and don't catch you, like the gingerbread man, right? But if you're slinging like value, if you're selling, product and service that converts, you don't have to hide behind people's ignorance. And I love what you just said as a vendor, man, that you basically tell dealers, here's what you should be looking for to hold us accountable. Can you go over those things? What should the dealer principal, GM, marketing manager, whoever's in charge of your website and your digital spend, what should they know to look for? I'll start one. Okay, first and foremost, and I hope this isn't you. I know it's not, but I can't believe in 2021 there's ad agencies or web development companies that are getting away with not letting the dealer have their own Google Analytics account, and that, having them use their account that they hold hostage. And if they part ways, they lose all their historical data and things like that. So let's start at that one right there. What are some of the most important things that executive management and marketing management needs to know to be able to hold their web development and their digital marketing company accountable and make sure they're not getting, pirated like Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean here?
Yeah. Well, the analytics account is a big one. And if any vendor tells you that they need their own analytics account, I'm sorry, pardon my French, that's bullshit. All right.
Right. You got to run fast.
Get hell out of there, because there's no need for it. And in fact, you should only have one analytics account on your site, because the more and more analytics tags you put on your website, the more things could get screwed up. Now, that other company can create what's known as a different view in analytics. If they want to look at things a certain way, that's fine, but you still have to own that main account. Just as importantly, is you also have to have access to the Google Ads account itself. That's the bigger one, because that's where the money's flowing through. If you can't go into Google itself and audit where the dollars are going, you're never going to know what they're telling you, if it's the truth or not, right?
Yes.
Well, that's the other big one too. And the same goes for Facebook and Microsoft and everything along those lines. Now, in terms of what we want to look at, for us, it starts off with, what is your ROI on the spend right now? That's where it starts for us. So we have a product we've had for years called CarOI. It's a DMS connection between our websites, all the marketing channels, and then the DMS itself, that can pull back information after a consumer purchases a car and they end up in the DMS. We can find out, did they engage with the Google ad? Did they engage with the website? Did they chat with us? Did they do digital retailing? Compile all that data and then line up where's your highest revenue source? Where's your next highest revenue source? Optimize those and then go from there. That's first and foremost. I could talk to you all day about clicks and impressions and getting traffic to your website, but if that traffic doesn't sell you cars, who cares? It doesn't make a difference. So we have to know first if we're selling cars. Then we start to back that out into the other metrics that lead into those sales. So that's where things like clicks and impressions and click-through rates come into play. I think one really key metric that dealers have been hung up on for years that I think we need to get past is impression share. So impression share is essentially your share of voice. How many times that a consumer does a search for, say, Toyota dealer near me, and your ad shows up. Those numbers fluctuate greatly, and they're never really the best indicator of success. And dealers will chase this phantom 100% impression share, which means you'll spend gobs of money doing it. But in actuality, Sean, you talked earlier about return on investment. As you chase that higher impression share number, you actually get a lower and lower return on investment, because oftentimes the people that do those searches, not everyone's going to be buying a car this month. Not everyone's really interested in your inventory at all. So why would you chase every single person? Why not instead chase the impression share that gets you the most buyers? So that's one key one. If somebody's telling you you have to have 100% impression share across your account, that's another big red flag there too.
No, strong. Okay, so you know what's been coming up lately? Again, shout out to Bob Ruth Ford. Just, again, not on a website level, just on a success level, man. When you look at 75 cars to 317 on the internet, and one thing is that they have and they're a smaller organization compared to these gazillion-dollar dealer groups out there. They've got a full digital marketing team. Lexi and her team are crushing it. And we were just on Clubhouse. I don't know if you've been on Clubhouse yet, but Clubhouse is definitely off the hook. We're trying to start our own club, the Millionaire Car Salesman Club on Clubhouse. And we were just in a room just maybe 2 nights ago, and a high-level director had made a comment, said, damn, that's pretty impressive that you guys have a full digital marketing team. And Lexi responded by saying, you know what, I'm surprised that more dealerships don't. She doesn't understand why more car dealerships are 1,000% outsourcing all this stuff. I personally believe, and let me get on my soapbox, because I'm only 5'5", right? So let me reach for the sky and say that, in my opinion, I think in 2021, there should be people that are trained, maybe not a whole team if you can't afford it, but there should be somebody that is not just a regular manager. I think that the dealership should be Google Analytics certified, AdWords certified. And I don't mean all at once. This could be a trajectory, a career path that they slowly matriculate into. That way, if I'm a higher caliber employee or manager or owner at a dealership, I could interact and speak higher and more intelligently with my vendors. It doesn't mean that you have to be certified so you could execute all the campaigns, but so you could add more synergistic, interdependent value in the overall strategy of your dealership's success. Would you agree or disagree?
I totally agree. And I think if I'm that person, if I'm in a dealership and my GM or my owner has put me in charge of working with our paid search vendor, I'd want to know everything I possibly could to hold them accountable. Because what I know I'll find areas of waste, and I'll find ways to save the dealership money. What better way to prove your value or your worth and grow in the company than saving the money, making the ad dollars perform better? And honestly, a lot of vendors, they're not going to take the time to tell you that. I mean, a lot of our competitors, they will load up their vendors. There's one of the companies out there, they'll load up their reps that have 100 paid search accounts, if not more. So if you think that those reps are going to take the time in each and every one of their accounts to truly fully optimize it, you're not seeing the big picture here. I mean, they're going to make sure that the ads run, they're going to make sure you spend your money, and that's probably about it. But if you really want to take the value out of this that you can get, you have to educate yourself and know where to look.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, what we're starting to work on with them and with other stores is interns. I mean, dealerships are multi-million, centimillion, which means 100 million, multi-billion-dollar dealer groups. You could, coordinate with the local high school. Some of these high schools got multimedia centers, video production studios. You could work with vocational schools. You could work with universities. You could work with film schools. You could get interns for everything from video production to web design. Not to design the websites, but to help work on your websites, for English, for blog content, for writing posts, for photography, for social media, for digital marketing. So I think that dealerships of the future need to take more of this stuff in-house, not to take away from any of the vendors, but to enhance, magnify, amplify, synergize with their vendors, instead of turning around and outsourcing this and then bitching and complaining to you because, and let me just now get on my my, higher soapbox here. Just because you've got the technology, you cannot blame the web development company if you're too lazy or too stupid to understand that you have to come up with customized content on your website. Okay, because if you have a DealerEProcess website or any other website provider that's there, what's going to differentiate your website from everybody else? What is your value package proposition? What is different and better about what you do from any other dealership? Again, the top 7 reasons why people are going online or calling as a phone up is price, availability, convenience. I hate car salesman, research, trade, credit. So what are you going to do for those people? Why should female shop, and buy from you? Why should people have bad credit, no credit, shop and buy from you? Why should military, law enforcement buy from you and shop from you, et cetera, et cetera? So a website is just a shell. Now, respectfully, you could be the best website. Listen, I live in a $1 million house. You know what I'm saying? So again, there's a difference. The people that do the sheetrock and the plumbing and the landscaping are not decorating my house. They're not doing it. Wifey's not playing that. You know what I'm saying? They're not picking out the drapes and the carpets. So again, why would I have, no disrespect to DealerEProcess, decorate my carpets of my multi-million or multi-billion dollar dealership or dealer group? And I would challenge anybody to tell me otherwise. I think the best website is one where it's looked as a joint venture project, that the web developer is the builders, the plumbers, the sheetrockers, and the infrastructure builders. But then you need somebody that's going to take time and start to map out the user experience, the differentiator, the value package proposition. Gino, am I speaking out of pocket?
Wait. No, you absolutely not speaking out of pocket, but man, you on fire right now. Give us a second. We want to hear from a sponsor, and we're going to come back and wrap this thing up. Sean, you are killing them right now, baby. Hold on. Give us a second.
Auto Credit Express is the leader in subprime auto financing. For over 20 years, we have served the online consumer, working to match the best dealers with consumers who need their help securing financing. With more than 250,000 leads per month, Auto Credit Express is the authority for dealers who understand that the special finance deal generates a higher gross profit. We've worked hard to innovate our solutions, bringing you Buyer Assist to drive consumer text engagement, building out robust solutions to help the underserved Spanish-speaking community. We now deliver proof of income on our leads through our proprietary STIPS feature, and are building dealer-branded social media marketing campaigns to help you, the dealers, build your brand. Contact Auto Credit Express today to learn how we can help you own your market for subprime finance. Sell more cars with higher gross profit and partner with Auto Credit Express today. Mention the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast for a special discount today.
All right, so y'all, we are back, and man, Sean was, I'm got to go get him hosed down, man. He was on fire, you know what I'm saying? But Gino, tell us, do you agree with all the things Sean was just saying? Give us your feedback on that, because that was fire.
I think that you hit the nail on the head, and I love your analogy about the people that build the house. I mean, if you think about it, all of those people that did the sheetrock, the construction, the carpentry and all that stuff, I mean, like, you told them what you wanted, right? You told them what your expected outcome was. You told them, here are my goals for this. And then they gave you their expertise on how to get it done best, right? That's the same relationship we want to have with our dealers, and not just for websites, but with the marketing, with the OTT, with the digital retailing. It's like, let's look at your situation. And we actually can use data that tells us where you're sitting in your marketplace, where your potential is, and things of that nature. And we say, let's work on some goals here for each other. What's your 60-day goal? What's your 90-day goal? Things like that. If you tell us what you want to do, if you tell us how you want to be represented in the community, if you tell us what your messaging is, we're going to tell you how to best do that, and then we're going to go ahead and make it happen. I mean, that's the way that we have to think about these relationships, and you should think about that with all of your vendors. It shouldn't just be getting on the phone with a vendor and they go to you and say, okay, what do you want to do this week? It's like, well, hold on a second. You're the ones that are the experts on paid search. You tell me where the opportunity lies. I'll tell you what the message needs to be to make us different in the marketplace, and then together we'll have a stronger impact than you just asking me, okay, what's your top model you want to focus on? I mean, that's bullshit. That's not the way that we want to operate. The way that we want to operate is we want to get your feedback. We want to work with you on this. You guys are the experts inside the store. We're the experts on the digital side. The two have to come together to have that solid relationship to then make things ultimately happen. If only one side's engaged, you're not going to get the most, out of what you're spending. That's just the truth.
Powerful. I have because we're winding down. I got a couple questions for you. So explain these acronyms. They're like FBI, DEA. Okay, so what, I know these, but I want our audience. What's OTT? Is that like OPP?
Yeah. You know me.
There you go.
Yeah.
OTT?
Yeah,
What's
OTT stands for over the top. Think of it as streaming video. So any ad that you would see on Hulu, or if you're watching Apple TV, it's essentially the way that consumers are watching video content these days. Another good data point that I just saw recently says that right now millennials are trending to be by far the biggest car buyers this year, which I think we all kind of knew that.
Yeah.
But over 41% of them will never see your television ads if you only do broadcast and cable, because they don't have those services. They use Apple TV, they use Roku, they use Amazon Fire Stick. And so our OTT offering is a way for you to get those ads in front of those consumers. And in fact, speaking of Amazon, we were the first automotive tier 3 partner with Amazon to make that happen. So Amazon's rolling out some crazy cool OTT technology with all the data that they have in hand to target people. And they're only partnering with a handful of vendors in the space. They haven't even decided on the full amount that they want to do, but they've only partnered with a handful of people in the space. And what we found is that with our services, I mean, you got to think of OTT as the high tide that raises all ships. A good OTT campaign has shown, for our dealers at least, to improve their social, improve their paid search, improve their organic traffic, and all results. So it's that big, consistent branding effort that does bring everything else up. And I mentioned our OTT team at the beginning. We brought in a team of former automotive executives from companies like Spectrum, Comcast, these major providers out there that combined have 100 years of automotive video experience with them. They put together this strategy that has consistently been twice as powerful. And this is not just coming from me, it's coming from the data. It's been twice as powerful for our dealers than the next automotive vendor on Amazon. So
that's crazy. Did Jeff Bezos really step down as CEO? I heard that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's gonna still stay on as the chairman of the board and things like that. Yeah, but he's doing big Willie stuff. I mean, like after being the richest man in the world, I'm like, what else is there, man? You know what I mean? So Gino,
man on Mars or something.
Right. Him and Elon are gonna have fun in Mars and Venus and whatever. So Gino, now what here? Just redirect here. Yeah. There's the buzz acronym that's going all over the industry right now. I want you to translate it. UMC codes or tags. What are those?
Are you talking about like urchin tracking codes, the UTC codes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are simply just tagging codes on your website. I mean, they're a way to know everyone that's coming into your website, what the actions are that they take and what the value is or the benefit of it is. I mean, it's something that your website vendor honestly should be an expert in and should already have embedded into the site itself.
Okay, but I see in these groups and in these blogs in our industry, people are throwing those around, and I've had people DM me and ask me questions like, Sean, I don't know what the hell these UMC codes or tags are. So can you just explain just for about a minute? You said that the web developer should know these, but you are, as a web developer, how do you use those, and what would a web developer tag things for, and why?
Yeah, so you want to use those to track goal outcomes on your website that you're interested in. So if you have the proper UTC code set up, you'd be able to track if a consumer clicked on a particular ad on Google, what the keyword was that they typed in. So you have that kind of data to back into. And then when they get to the site, did they click a lead form? Did they fill out that lead form? Did they engage with the chat? Did they look at 10 photos? The UTC codes can tell you all of that. And
what does UTC stand for exactly?
Urchin tracking method.
You said one more time?
Urchin tracking method.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good.
So that's at least what it was always known as for me. I don't.
No, I think you're right. I wanted to just again get clarity for that. All right, I have one last question. I'm gonna let LA ask his question after that, and this is a personal favor in front of like tens of thousands of people. So my daughter just started selling cars, and I'm not sure if you're aware of that. The other daughter, so Tiana, T Got Your Keys, is now working with Dealer Synergy. But my youngest daughter, Kalina, she's got a website called kgotyoucovered.com, and I just want you to, because we talked about dealers this whole time, I do want to give a little love to the automotive sales professionals out there, man, because there's so many people that I am so proud of, especially in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, that are getting their own websites. Some of them are getting WordPress websites, some are getting build-a-brand websites. I don't know if DealerEProcess, is creating websites yet for individual salespeople. Do you guys do that yet?
Not yet, we don't know.
Okay, no problem. Okay. If you do, I don't mind taking a cut for the idea. I'm just saying, I think it's a model. I'm looking at Gino. So
we'll talk offline about it.
Yeah. So, but I would, because you are a marketing, expert, what advice would you have for a salesperson that has their own website? How would you advise? And if you could just do this for me as a favor to my daughter, like seriously, this is her website right here. What should Kalina Bradley at RK Auto Group, what should her focus be as a salesperson? She doesn't obviously have the budget or the experience of a digital marketing agency or a full-blown dealership, but she's, investing her own personal money, and she's trying to build her brand within the dealership's brand. So what should automotive sales professionals know and focus on if they're trying to get the most out of their own personal website?
Yeah, I think you got to focus on your customers and your reviews. That's the number one. I mean, if your site is set up correctly, your reviews that are on your site will index within Google, so it'll give you a lot of SEO value. But really, at the end of the day, if you're a car salesperson, the way I think of it is you're kind of your own small business owner, right?
Yes.
So if you're your own small business owner, you know that referral business is always going to be your number one source of new customers, and it's always the best source too. And the idea behind that website is not really to showcase the inventory. They're going to go to the dealership site for that, but they want to know you. They want to know who they're going to do business with. So I'd say promote the hell out of it on Facebook using video of you and your clients, people that you've done business with that have a really good relationship with you. I'm a huge proponent of video in all cases, but especially for this. And then when they get to the site, you really don't have to go too in depth with the content that's on there, because again, they'll probably go to the website, the dealer's website itself, to shop inventory. But make it about you. Make it about your likes, your dislikes, things that make you unique. What's interesting is that we have a little segment on our website for the Meet the Staff page, and people can go in there and upload videos of themselves, write about themselves, and every so often you stumble across a unique, well-written Meet the Staff page post. And one person, she was a cashier at the dealership, and if you go to the dealership, her office is full of Cheetos bags and Cheetos paraphernalia. And if you'd ask her, you said, do you bring all these in yourself? She'd say, no, these were just sent to me from customers. Because what she did was she went on the website to the Meet the Staff page and wrote about how she loves Cheetos. So people actually read it. And because they liked her and had a good experience with her, when they were done at the dealership, they would send her Cheetos or gesture the Cheeto statues or whatever the case may be. So she just had this relationship with customers. And again, she was just a cashier, but because she was able to differentiate herself online, talk about her likes or dislikes and what makes her unique, it made a connection between people to the point that they just started sending her Cheetos all day. So that's the biggest recommendation I would make, is make this about not just your ability to give them a good experience selling a car, but if you have a passion about something, if there's an organization or foundation you work with, I mean, make that a big part of the website too. Like if you volunteer at Habitat for Humanity, put videos and pictures of yourself out there building a house for somebody, just to generate that kind of goodwill, because people want to do business with people that they like. And if they know these things about you, they're going to be more apt to look for you at the dealership.
Powerful. Thank you so much, Gino. We've been rocking for about an hour now. It was nonstop, packed with information. Is there anything you'd like to leave our audience with about DealerEProcess, you, or about web development, or website platforms, marketing platforms? These are your closing thoughts from Gino.
Yeah, I don't want to make it about me. I think it's about the dealerships. I think it's about what we can do for you. And I think an important thing here that really for the people that don't know who we are, I think the important thing to know about us is that as far as the major website providers out there, which we of course are one of them, I'd say we're in the top 5 easy. Out of all of them that are out there, we're the only ones that are still founder owned and operated. Everyone else is bought up, is part of a big conglomerate. Their whole goal is to make money for their shareholders. Our owner was a dealership principal himself. He left the dealership because he was just upset with his website, hated the technology he had at his disposal. And this was 12 years ago, so stuff was obviously really bad back then anyways, but he knew he could do it better. And so that's what we focus on every single day. We're here for the dealers. And in fact, I know during COVID, everyone's shut down. A lot of people have been furloughed. A lot of the industry vendors have kind of prohibited their people from even going in the dealership. But our stance is, you guys are in the store. We should be in the store there with you. Your business is your business. It's the most important thing to you. And you have to be there on the front lines working with everybody else during this terrible pandemic time. So our reps are in the store. They're still working with our dealers hand in hand to try to navigate through all of this, because at our core, we're all about making dealerships better. And so that's really where our focus is.
Man, again, I would concur. You could tell the difference. And folks, let's just, again, I could say things that huge companies like this have to be politically correct with. Name one freaking web development company, one that was acquired
Autoweb.
and it didn't fall apart? I mean, like not one. I mean, like I could just name like one by one as they get acquired by these big multi-billion-dollar, conglomerates. They lose the passion from the leader and the founder of that organization. And so that's a very big point, is that you are the only one out of the large web developers that have thousands of clients that's still, privately owned by the original founder. So that's a very good point. And so again, thank you so much for spending the hour with us and the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. LA, close us out.
Appreciate you, Gino. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's all about. I always tell you, you are the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. You've just been spending time with Mr. Gino Cipriani and Sean V. Bradley and just a little bit of L.A. Williams, man. Listen, the Millionaire Car
Blind
Salesman.
Master.
Go out there and become a millionaire car salesman. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to bradleyondemand.com and take your career to the next level. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman Group on Facebook. We'll see you there.